Welcome to the Performance Portfolio Podcast with Coop and Coop. Greg Cooper and Cooper Allen bridge the gap between performance and finance to help you build a stronger life and a more resilient future. Let's get into today's episode.
Greg, how you doing?
Good, Coop. It's been a week since we've been able to fill the airwaves with useless or really excellent uh, wisdoms, depending on how you frame it, depending on how you think, and depending on how much you like us.
Yeah, depending on who you ask, for sure, for sure. But hey, we're gonna dive into something that you brought up off air that I'm curious to go deeper on. I think there's a lot of ways you uh, can take a topic like this and a lot of different opinions online about it. But you had mentioned to me uh, wanting to talk about the cost of always being reachable. So tell me a little bit more about kind of where that came from, why it was on your heart to talk about it, and then I'll dive in afterwards and kind of share my 2 cents.
This topic stems like back from when I was purely in sales, where I was given advice. When you're young in your sales career, you need to always be on your phone. If somebody calls, you got to answer. You always got to be there for them. Email, answer every ding and ping, and be there. And yeah, like at an early sales career, when you're a commission-based person, there's a point where there's definitely something to that. Um, Now, that being said, you quickly find out that nothing is that urgent that it needs, sorry, everything isn't that urgent where you need to bang, 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 because you're going to over stimulate and kill your focus on it because you're just always dealing with urgent and not what is the actual priority or who is the actual priority. So being reachable is a great thing. Being dependable is a great thing, but being too easily accessible and too reachable creates a space where there are no boundaries, there are no limitations to when or who you'll answer, and it can really create a space of burnout if you're not careful. And I found that out the hard way because I did hit that very early in my sales career. I was like 2 in the morning and I was answering calls from people. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. It's an interesting topic for me because obviously I run 100% commission-based business. I've been doing so for the last 8 years of my life. And I'll bring advisors onto the team, and it's the same conversation as well. Is what are the boundaries you're going to set to make sure that because this isn't a 9 to 5, but are you going to let people walk all over you? Are you always going to be available? Is your office always open? Uh, because anything related to finance, mortgages, real estate, investments, insurance, etc. Is there great money to be made in the space? Yes, there is a ton of great money to be made in the space. What are you willing to do and not willing to do? Has got to be the question up front. And sometimes people come into training in our world and we're talking about goals and vision and things like that. And they're like, I'm here to learn about term life insurance. Why are you talking to me about my vision? It's like, because on the other side, I'm making a career out of this. What do you want it to look like? You don't go to work, whether it's in life insurance sales or building a financial planning brokerage or being a high school teacher. You don't go to work just cause. You do it to earn a living. So maybe get clear on what that living looks like. So for me, and especially once I had kids, it's never been worth it to me to be 24/7 on my phone. Hey, Coop can't be here this time because he's working. Now, is there a time and a place and seasons throughout your business for that? For sure. Are you gonna have people that say, yeah, Coop's not here at Monday night slow pitch because he's working? Yeah, okay. If I've got some appointments or some calls to do on a Monday night and I prioritize that over playing men's league slow pitch, for sure. But if it's dad's missing 6 out of 7 dinners with his family every week as his kids are growing up to get this thing going, well, that's a much different trade-off than occasionally missing slow pitch. Or to your point, Greg, about answering calls at 2 in the morning. Like And I think there's two sides of the coin for this is there's people who are just on 24/7 all the time and everything is a sacrifice. They're sacrificing everything. And then there's the people on the other side that they see that example and they so don't want to be that they don't find the middle ground that they need to actually be successful. So they set too many boundaries and I'm never going to work an evening. Are you kidding me? You want me to work after 5 o'clock? You want me to work a Saturday? Well, yeah, if you want to be financially independent sooner than 40 years from now, it probably will require the occasional Saturday or the occasional Sunday. So if that's a hard boundary for you, good luck being broke for 40 years. Because that's it. That's the path that everyone else is going to go on. They're not going to get to where they want to go. If you're not growing yourself in any capacity, working on a side business or personally developing or doing something, then yeah, in the early phases of your career, this idea that working 35 hours a week is like crazy, super high amount of work and that every other waking minute should be spent on a patio or playing video games. It's like, okay, come on now. Uh, but then, yeah, the flip side is to your point, Greg, if you're in a fully commission based role, I mean, if you want to be answering calls at 2 in the morning, answer calls at 2 in the morning. But if you're doing it because you feel you need to, that's a hole. When you were saying that, it's if you're going to lose a deal because you're not on call 24/7, then you just need to run more volume, first of all, so that no one deal is that important to your business that you always need to be on call. Because think about it, once you win the deal, then if you were on call 24/7 to win the deal, that's what they're going to expect from you to continue to service that account. So that's great that you won the account, but now you've just signed up for a lifetime of 24/7 on-call service with that individual or that company. The follow-up to that is if you're not in an industry where you can just run more volume, where your product or your service is in demand enough and your talent and your skill behind what you do is in demand enough, where you can just run more volume and get results from people who don't expect you to be on your phone 24/7, then you either need to increase your skill set and your value to the marketplace, or you need to find an industry that you can build in or sell in that is more valuable to the marketplace. Because chances are, if you're doing something where you need to land one big fish, and if you miss that big fish, then there's no other market for you, that's not really a good business strategy. It's the timing of this episode's funny, Greg, because I was watching a movie with my wife not too long ago. And the concept was it was like two admin assistants working for busy CEOs, and they never get to enjoy their personal life. So then they like conspired together to make the two CEOs start dating so that it would free up the calendar so they get more time off. It was actually pretty funny, but I looked at that and it's like how insecure as an admin assistant or personal assistant to somebody successful do you have to be to say, I'm going to work 24/7 around the clock to prove my worth to this individual so that one day maybe I can get a promotion. Like to me, that just screams insecurity. It's like you don't think you could, if you're working 70 and 80 hour weeks for an individual who doesn't really appreciate the work that you're putting in, you're telling me that you couldn't go somewhere else and work 55 hours instead of 70 and climb a ladder in somewhere really pretty quickly and pretty easily because you're one of the few people in this world that's shown that they still have a decent work ethic. Like, I don't know about you, Greg. Every entrepreneur that I talk to, their number one challenge is we can't get people to work. We can't find good people. But then you've got people that are out there selling their souls, having their phones on 24/7 all the time for a company or an individual that's not advancing them or not paying them what they're worth. And those people are doing it because they think there's no other options out there when there's dozens of other entrepreneurs in different industries chomping at the bit going, man, if that individual ever was just open-minded enough to consider a different industry or a different career and they weren't so tied to serving the needs of John Doe who doesn't appreciate them and is making them work 100 hours a week, then yeah, I'd pay them twice as much, work them half as less and have them advance and move up like at some point throughout their career and not just be stuck in a personal assistant role for forever. And I get that the movie was satire, but I think of how many people are in that exact same position where they're always on and not appreciated for the work that they're doing, not involved in the strategic direction of that individual's business or the organization. And They're hoping for some appreciation that's going to be 10 years down the line instead of walking across the road to somewhere else that'll appreciate it almost right away.
I think it's really important that you said it stems from a place of insecurity. And I think that is really important because when you're young, as a generality, we're looking to impress. We're looking to show our value, to prove our worth, to prove that we have what it takes uh, in whatever industry, where whatever, personally, professionally, in any area of our life, as athletes, right? The name of the game in sports is proving that you have what it takes to be the best, right? It's a constant show of I'm this and this, but what that creates is unhealthy boundaries. And when we're talking about being reachable, one thing I found out really quick was being too easily reachable not only creates a big environment and a big opening for you to get walked all over and taken advantage of, but it diminishes your value. Well, if you're always reachable, what are you doing? Are you never busy? Are you never focused on the person in front of you? Why are you always checking your phone? And it lowers your value, especially to individuals that know how important time is, that are further ahead of you in life, just on the timeline, where the older you get, the more valuable your time is. And I realized that quick, and I actually started closing more when I would take a little bit longer to reply. Now I'm not ghosting these guys and like, oh, I'm going to make them wait, and then they're going to really need me. No, but it's appropriate time lengths, and in doing that, you build more value. Because if you're always on and you're always reachable, you kill your focus, you kill your recovery, and you kill your presence. Where if you tail it down and create healthy boundaries. Now I'm in no place to tell anybody what a healthy boundary is for them because it's so individual. Some people, yeah, hey, between 8 and 3, if I'm not in a meeting or not in front of somebody, I'll pick up the phone or answer within X amount of time. That's my boundary I'm setting. After 4, I go play sports or I go coach. You won't hear from me. Maybe after I'm coaching, if I read it and I go, okay, yeah, this does need a reply, I'll reply to it. But it's not given. And setting those boundaries is really important, first and foremost for your mental health, because it lowers that constant anxiety you'll create if you're always reachable. 2, it increases your value because you're upfront showing people, hey, here's when you can reach me. But if I don't answer, it's because I'm in a meeting, I'm with another person, I'm with my family, or I'm doing something that is a priority in that moment, and I will get back to you. Also, just so you're aware, Coop, if you call me from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., I'm on the judo mats. I do not have my phone. I'm using it as a timer, but I do not have the capacity to answer you right now. And for the select few of people that are very, very important in your life, hey, if there's an emergency, I will answer. If you text me or call me and say, this is a 911, like I need you now, cool. But that portion of people that you are, I'll call it 100% reachable to, needs to be very, very, very small and very vetted. This is your closest friend, your partner, your parents, people that will be there when everything goes wrong for you. So creating those healthy boundaries looks different for everybody, but they're so important for your mental health and for your value as a human being, not just salesperson or XYZ employee or assistant that's trying to become the CEO in 10 years. As a human being.
Absolutely. And there's such a huge difference between boundaries and tactics because a boundary is, hey, while I'm on recording this with you, I'm not going to, right now, the cover's on my phone. So I get a phone call, no idea if it comes up. Get a new notification come in, it's sitting there on silent. And that's the only reason I have the cover is not because it looks cool. I get that it looks like an old man thing, but it's so that I don't get distracted by new notifications coming in. I can just fire a cover on it, put it on silent. It's good. I don't even notice that it's there. Now, if we're going to batch some content and record a couple, am I going to pop this open, look at the notifications, and make sure I don't have 6 missed calls from my wife or from my parents? Absolutely. But so long as that's the case, and I see a couple emails come in or messages or whatever, it's like, yeah, I can tackle that later. So we're in between episodes. Okay, let's get back to shooting. I'm going to be with Greg. It's not, hey, Greg, I've had 5 missed calls from 5 different people come in and 3 emails I got to respond to and 12 text messages. Let me just get to these for the next 15 minutes while you sit there and stare at me and watch me doing it. Now I'm wasting your time. Right? Why do I think I'm that important that I can just sit here and waste your time? And on the flip side is why would I think I'm that important that if you're in the middle of your day running your day that you need to get back to me right away? But if you're investing money with, if let's say I'm investing money with you and I panic and have an emergency come up and Greg, I have this car repair. I need 2 grand out of my TFSA right now. Can you give me the money right now? And I send you that message at 9:30 in the morning and you get back to me at 4:30 p.m. that day. That's like, there's no big deal. It's not an issue. If you're, why should I expect you to get back to me within the hour? You could be hanging out with your kids. You could be on another appointment. You could be with a client. You could, whatever. If the repair needs to be done in that moment, first of all, the transaction is not going to be processed immediately. So if you're sitting at the dealer and you need to pay it, well, put it on your credit card. And Greg will get me the money in 2 to 3 business days. And then 2 to 3 business days from now, I'll pay off my credit card. Oh, you don't have 2 grand worth of room on your credit card? Well, that's a bigger financial planning error that is an issue. It's your issue. That's not the financial advisor's poor planning. That's your poor planning. So your lack of planning does not create somebody else's urgency and anxiety. So yeah, like there's nothing specific to my business, and I would imagine, Greg, even specific to yours. I can't think of something that is urgent enough that, like, most things should be responded within same day, if not within 24 hours. But I can't think of anything that needs to be responded within 30 minutes. Like even someone who's like, even if I was paying out a life insurance claim and someone said, hey, someone passed away. Okay, I'll process the claim later today or first thing tomorrow morning. Like there's nothing, I don't know. Can you think of anything that's urgent enough where I would need to have the ringer on and pause this podcast to go do in the financial world?
In the financial world, no.
In the performance world, would there be anything? Like, is there any call you could get right now, other than maybe one of your athletes that's like basically calling you instead of the suicide hotline? That's like the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, like those are the few instances, like because and it's important to make those distinctions where they could be from the part of your world that is finance, and that's how you're connected, or my athletes are connecting me through performance through coaching. The ones where I'm gonna drop everything and like, oh, when it's personal. They came to me because of the trust I built them up through this thing, but this thing is really urgent. I'm stuck in another country. The flights all got messed up. I can't access my phone. No, but like whatever the case is. Now this is maybe pretty obscure, but we kind of had this instance happen. We had an athlete. We did all this work to get him travel documents, but he's not. He's only a PR, and the whole team was there. He didn't get let on the plane to Japan. Okay, well, we got to deal with this because he wasn't in Edmonton. He was in Calgary. Okay, so we called a guy, we got him to the consulate, and we got him on a plane the next day. It wasn't life or death, but we solved the problem because between the number of us, like, frankly, I didn't do much on it. I made a couple connections, and Rashad and Sensei Paul in Calgary did the brunt of the work. But it's like, there's an instance where, hey, I got this text while I was going to do something that was a priority for me. And I'm like, hey, I'm going into a meeting. Like, what do you need from me right now? Do I need to drop this? Do I need to let them know, like, hey, I need 20 minutes to deal with this? They're like, no, we got it. We're just keeping you in the loop. Cool. Perfect. But outside of physical emergencies, emotional emergencies, like things that are this moment, it's 911. None of those are going to be in the realm of performance or your work or it's might be from that part of your world, but it's going to be a personal thing. I just got in a car accident. You're the first. If you're the first person they called, that means they trust you to a point where either they're scared or they don't know what to do or whatever it is. Okay, that's a personal thing though. It's not a professional thing.
Yeah. Or I guess something like, and maybe where this would be a bit different is if you were in a sales position that dealt with a lot of shipping and delivery. So, hey, I've got a transport truck that's at the yard here with 12 cases of the Coca-Cola that you sold to Circle K. And the guy's saying he never placed the order. So, do I get in a fight with him or do I drop it and leave? Do I, whatever? Or I'm driving a transport truck with a bunch of F-150s on it and I'm at the Ford dealership and they're saying that this was for the Ford dealership, for the Ford dealer across town. But even still, that's within the confines of business hours. There's no transport truck that's showing up at 2 a.m. calling you, expecting you to make that happen, or at least there shouldn't be. And if an error is made at that time of night, then yeah, that truck driver should probably go, yeah, you know what? I'll deal with the error tomorrow and hopefully work pays me overtime to compensate me for that. Alex Hormozy has a great reel on that where he's given a piece of advice to a guy that basically just says, if you want to buy your time back, you hire someone, you pay them way more than what you should be paying them. But the caveat to paying them way more is, hey, Greg, I'm hiring you. That means my phone doesn't ring. I'm paying you more money so that my phone doesn't ring. So if emergency XYZ happens, what's the correct answer? And your correct answer basically is anything other than call me. And that's the scenario. And it's pretty simple as well. One thing, Greg, that you do really well, just for our listeners, is I can tell that it's something that if you're already on your phone doing another task and I'm looking to get a hold of you, you don't drop the task that you're doing to fulfill whatever it is that I need done. But because you're already on your phone, you still acknowledge it. You'll go, hey, let me get back to you on this later today. Or, yep, sounds good. Let me give you a shout later. So it's not like, oh, because you're not, I made the comment earlier about setting a boundary but not being tactical. So like tactical, sometimes people get petty where they're like, well, if Greg took 3 days to respond to me, then I'm going to take 3 days to respond to him. Cut that crap out. That's not a boundary. That's you being petty. That's if you're already on your phone and I'm dealing with something right now, and then I get done dealing with it, and instead of just hitting power off and going into the next thing, I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going to take the extra 15 seconds to go, hey, Greg, busy the next couple hours. Let me give you a ring a bit later today. Or, hey, Greg, if I don't get back to you by end of day, please give me a call. Or something like that. And that's, I think, one thing you've always done very well. So to me, it's like if you're on your phone and it's going to take 15 seconds, if the task is going to take 5 minutes and you don't have the time for it, take the 15 seconds to go, hey, let me get back to you on this later today. If you're not on your phone, the real boundary, the difference between a tactic and a boundary is if you're not on your phone, then don't be anxious about the fact that, well, Greg might be texting me and he might need something from me today. So let me be glued to my phone, just double checking 10 different times throughout the day, just in case he sends me a message. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
But if something comes up and you're already on your phone, then yeah, do that. The other thing is one of the pieces of advice that I give a lot of my teammates is I say, treat your text message like an email inbox. Some people mistake that as they start checking their text messages once a week. It's like, are you kidding me? You're getting back to me, your prospects, your clients once a week? Like that's super unprofessional. When I say treat it like an email inbox, check it 2 to 4 times a day at specific times. And there's like we talked about, there's almost nothing that needs to be addressed quicker than a couple times a day. But when I say treat your text message like an email inbox, it's schedule 2 or 3 times throughout the day where you go in and you spend 10 to 15 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes clearing out your inbox and dealing with the things that need to be dealt with. And it's a much healthier thing than feeling like you got to get back to every single text or every single email in the moment. But it does not give you permission to say, I'm going to take a week to get back to this person because for my mental health or for my boundaries or for my whatever. It's like, well, no, if you're get back to people, it's pretty Pretty simple. And now I'm talking about obviously in a professional context. In a personal context, you do you with whatever your friends and your family, and that's a whole other ballgame. But in a professional context, uh, somebody shouldn't go more than a day or two without knowing that you're alive and you're taking care of the issue that they talked about.
I'm gonna go back to your point on, the petty behavior or comparing like how you do versus how other people in your world do. Nobody possesses the same capacity as you. So don't expect them to do what you do on either end of the spectrum. Some people are so set and know what their boundaries are. They see a notification, they see the name, they go, that can wait because I need to put the focus here. Other people on the flip side, it's like, yeah, I got my phone in my hand. I'm going to be like, hey, in a meeting, I'll text you back. Cool. I did that. One of my best friends, Zach from Mentel, literally called me while I was just tying my belt, drinking my water while my one private client was getting changed. I said, hey man, all good? And he's like, yeah, nothing urgent. I said, great. I'll be free in an hour. I'll give you a call after I'm done. He's like, sweet. Like that's how I operate. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, doesn't mean everybody listening to this has to do it. And I understand that. And I don't get angry at people when they take a long time to reply to me because, hey, everybody's got their own methods, everybody has their own priorities, and everybody has, some people, especially if they're not allowed to have their phone at work. So don't expect them to reply in the middle of the day. And if you're creating these stories and overthinking in your head, you're just setting your brain up for failure and for false anxiety. But setting those boundaries is important and understanding nobody has the same methods. But here I'm going to share a couple strategies I do for that. If you have an iPhone, you can pin people to the top. I pin the most important people in my life to the top. So if I do not have time to reply to them, I don't have to search for it. And if somebody outside of those 6 texts me during the day, if it's like somebody I never talked to, or like, I'm like, okay, I'll get to that. I don't always answer those. But if it's one of the 6, it's different. And to take it a step further, for a very, very select few, in fact, 2 people, I have a different text tone and a different ringtone for them. Because then I know if my ringer is on or if I'm not on do not disturb mode, which my phone's on do not disturb mode a lot. Oh, I know who that is. I don't need to reply to that right away. Or I'm going to take a look and then I'm going to move on or reply, whether it's a, hey, give me 20 minutes. Or actually, yeah, I can reply to that and I can take 5 minutes now. Those are simple strategies you can do to create boundaries for yourself so you're not checking just to look. I know that that noise is for that person, and I know that they're doing this right now, or that they said, hey, I need to talk to you in an hour. Bing. Oh, I was focused on something. Yeah, it's been an hour. Okay. Yeah, they needed me right now. I'll answer that. And it's lowered my checking of the random messages because I know I have a tendency. If somebody does message me, if they're not in my circle, I'll probably still reply to them. But now I've taken a step further where it's like the odd chance that it takes me into a conversation that I do not have the capacity to have right now, it's actually wrong of me to answer that text that fast because now I'm going to give them half of me or less than half of me because I'm actually focused on this, but I'm still trying to appease them. For what? I don't owe them anything. But very select few people in my life do get that. And that being said, there's still times where they won't because I can't. Because I need to focus on what is in front of me, the priority, not the urgent. Unless it is a very real emergency, I'm going to be there. Also, going back to the start of that, all those tactics it said, I can't state this enough. Whether it's virtual text, calls, emails, Facebook, DMs, all the pings and dings we get during the day. How you respond, the cadence, the speed, the fullness. If you're a writer and you write a message that's structured sentence, paragraph every time, and your friend replies with K, remember they're not you and you're not them. Everybody responds different. It doesn't make them mad at you or you better than them or vice versa. Everybody has different communication strategies. And there's a great, I think I've referenced it before, but there's a great Key and Peele skit that they do this. And it is so great. They're texting each other. It's like, hey man, been trying to reach you. Are you still wanting to hang out? And then it flips. He's like, oh, how considerate of him. Yeah, man, that sounds good. That sounds good. Do you even want to hang out? Oh, that's nice of him. Like I said, doesn't matter. And it's like these two guys framing it so differently. One guy's getting pissed because he's not replying, or his friend's not replying the way he wants him to. But that's not how communication works. I can only communicate the way I communicate. How I receive it needs to be framed properly. So if you're that always reachable or more reachable person, just know not everybody is.
That's to me, that's the penalty of being emotionally unintelligent, is that if you're so quick to jump to what you think that somebody else is thinking, then that's not on them. That's on you to pick up the phone. If I'm pissed at something that you've texted me, I'm not pissed at you. I'm pissed because I'm emotionally unintelligent. I'm pissed because I took what was said and I attached meaning to it that may or may not be legitimate. So it's my job to pick up the phone and call and go, hey, I might not be reading this the way that you're saying this. Can you just clarify what you meant by that? And that's, do you need to do that all the time? No. Do I call Greg and go, hey Greg, what did you mean by that text? No, but you know what I also don't do? I don't jump to conclusions with Greg's hidden meaning and intentions behind what he texts me. But if you're the type of person that's going to do that, that lack of emotional awareness and emotional intelligence and unnecessary anxiety comes with extra responsibility for you to not be pissed off at other people, but just call to understand their perspective and call to confirm. If you're gonna jump to conclusions, and your communication ability needs to increase, needs to improve. If you need to clarify how people are thinking so that you don't create a story, those are your only two options. You either need to go through enough personal development to learn how to not attach a story to a message, or be willing to call that person to clarify the story. It's one or the other. But you don't get to sit there and label that person happy or sad or the jerk or the whatever because you haven't figured out your own emotional intelligence on how to read a text message.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to add to that in a different way too, where especially people close to you or professional, right? So it's very different. I'll speak on professional first. Asking how a person prefers to communicate is an important thing when you're when you're in a client facing job. Do you prefer text, email, call, morning, night, time of day? When is the best time to reach you? And how is the best way to reach you? That automatically makes the communication stronger because you're showing, hey, I want to understand how you communicate so I can communicate the best. I started my career in agriculture sales. I dealt with 18-year-old farmers that are upcoming and 70-year-old farmers that have flip phones. They ain't answering a text message. They're not looking at their email. Call those guys. 18-year-old, text them. Or maybe not. Maybe they like phone call. Everybody's different, right? Generalizations. Personally, right? If you are that overthinker, or not even that, understand how people want to be communicated with. I talk about this with my best friend all the time. The nature of my job sometimes gives me a lot of free time, not always, and my schedule is getting really full now, which is great. But there are times where it's like, I got an hour to kill here, and I find some funny stuff, and every once in a while I'm like, hey, I know you're super busy. Does me like sending you 6 things to no reply, which is they're busy with clients, is fine. Does that create any angst that you need to answer me? Nope. Perfect. Cool. I'll keep doing it. If they said yes, I'd be like, okay, I'll chill. I'll talk to you tonight. And that's a healthy way to understand what each other's boundaries are. Are you doing too much then and creating this like, geez, you're bombarding me? Or no, it's good. It doesn't bother me. I'm good in my boundaries that I see that. So cool. It's nothing urgent. It's just stuff. Great. I'll reply to the stuff later. But if one of those texts was, holy shit, this is, everything's going wrong. This is emergency. Okay. Like, what do you need from me? What can I do to help right now? Like, I'll give that time. So have talks about communication, especially with the people close to you. And if you have clients, understand how your clients receive information.
Absolutely. And just the last thought I have on that is if you're the one with the preference, it's up to you to communicate it. It's not up to somebody to understand social cues or they should have just known or that's obviously that's how we do things or that no, if you want things done a certain way and somebody is not following that until you've articulated that to them. Yeah, if somebody sends you 6 text messages at 2 o'clock in the morning and you're like, well, clearly that's not good etiquette. Well, maybe, or maybe that person's on a vacation right now on the West Coast where it's 11 p.m. and not 2 a.m. And they're at the end of their vacation day with their family and they had a thought throughout the day. So when they got back to their hotel room with where their phone was that they didn't have all day, they had a bunch of thoughts they wanted to share with you so that they didn't fall asleep and forget about it so that you got the message. So it's something in their mind, they're like, you know what, I'll talk to you about this in a week when I'm back from holidays, but I just want to get it out there. And you're like, well, clearly it's unethical. And clearly it's no, it's actually really considerate that that person thought of you and wanted to make sure that the information got back to you. So maybe it should have been on you to have your phone on silent or do not disturb at 2 in the morning if you didn't want those messages. It's also on you to not wake up at 2 in the morning and think that you have to reply to all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, that's if you're, I guess my point in all of this is don't sit there and try to push your ideals onto everybody. And if you want things to be a specific way, then communicate that. And also while you're communicating that, understanding that nobody has to agree with the way that you want things. And that's the power of business and family and everything is you can choose which relationship. If you have a friend that's like, I need you as soon as you text me, if you don't text me back within 5 minutes, you're not a good friend. I'm not friends with any of those people. I don't communicate with family members that are like that. I see them at Easter and I see them at Christmas and they give me a hard time for it. I go, yeah, I got a life to live. And it's pretty egotistical of you if you think that you're going to be the most important person on that, regardless of the severity of the issue. Like you clearly have never been in an emergency room and understood the concept of triage. I'm going throughout my day triaging my life, and you're sitting there with the ego thinking that you need to be most important, that you're coming into the ER because you got your temperature is 1 degree higher than it's supposed to be, and I'm over here dealing with someone who just lost their leg, and you think you should come to the front of the line. Screw off. But that's how I choose to operate. I think a lot more people would be at a lot more peace if they saw things a lot more direct and logical and simple in that regard. But I'm also self-aware enough to know that they don't have to. So it's up to you how you choose to see it, Greg, like you said. But I think people would have a lot less anxiety around stuff, and it goes back to the topics we've talked about in the past of people thinking that they're so busy. And it's like a lot of you being so busy is self-induced. You're so busy, but you have time to small talk, text your girlfriends all the time, and update them on how your day's going. And you're on Facebook taking pictures of what you had for lunch and putting it on there, not even because you're an influencer, just because you want people to know about your day. And it's like, Greg, I mean, you said this off air before we started. What do I do when you text me something? I don't small talk you back. I go, yeah, sounds good. We'll chat later. I
No.
don't think we've sent more than maybe a half dozen texts consecutively between the two of us in a row in our life before it turned into a phone call later in the day.
Yeah. And it's like 2 word answers, right? And it's again, it's understanding, especially when you're the individual that is more reachable or is the fast responder. It's not about you. And if you get those feelings, communicate that. If you necessarily need to, it's like, hey man, I just like, whether it's healthy or not, it just like, I feel frustrated the way you text me. Are we good? And if you need to communicate that, but if you're not willing to, and you don't need to be like, oh, it's frustrating. Be like, hey, Coop, when I text you, like, am I bothering you? If you need to say it, say it. And if you're not willing to, do not let it get petty and do not like, this guy hates me. I know Coop is doing stuff. He's working with his clients or he's with his kids or he's whatever. He could be golfing. I don't give a shit. If I text him and he has time, typically he'll just call me. If I text him and he's busy, like Coop just said, like, yeah, chain of 5 texts and it's like 5 texts, 8 words, 10 words, right? Like, it's not much. Hey, what's your availability this week? Tuesday's good. 10 a.m. Mountain time, Eastern time, Mountain time. Cool. I'll send a calendar invite. Done. And that's where it stop gaps. It doesn't go, oh, by the way, how was your coffee? Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not
Yeah,
saying
it's
that
like,
you
oh,
can't
by the way, man, how have you been? Why?
yeah. Why do you
Like
care?
realistically, you and I are gonna hop on the recording, and I'm not gonna say how are you, how have you been? I don't know what's going on lately. What's up since the last time we chat? And we're gonna talk about that for 5 or 10 minutes before we start recording, and that's good. And if you need a daily how are you outside of that, like get some help. You shouldn't need that. You shouldn't need another human being to just constantly be validating you. That's not how someone shows that they care.
Yeah.
Someone shows that they care so that by a week from now, when you and I haven't chatted in a week, but you're down on your luck and you send me a quick text going, bro, I'm not in a good headspace. Do you have time for a call? Yeah, absolutely I do. What's up? But to need that every day is like, come on.
Mhm.
What are we doing here?
I'm I'm gonna take that on the other side of that too, where it's like the need versus like the want or desire, where yeah, you shouldn't need that in your life. You shouldn't need that validation, but there's a very special place in the world for that person in your life, whether it's your best friend, your wife, whoever that is, right? That like is excited to share that information with you. And they like have a win during their day. They text you like, "Oh my God, dude, you'll never guess. This is incredible." That's special. And that's different. And if you need that with every person you text, that's when you should rein it in. But it's like, for me, I got one person like that, just one. And
Yeah.
that's good. And that's great. But again, it doesn't create the need to immediately respond. Sometimes it's a thumbs up or just like whatever, the little icon. You just, great.
Well, that's
And
a
it's
that's
like,
a
hey, great win, dude. And when I see that, it's like they don't have time to acknowledge it right now because they have their shit and they have their day going on. Maybe we'll talk about it later. And if it never gets brought up, that doesn't bother me. I don't care. I just need to tell somebody that this sick win just happened. That's the way I operate.
And there's a huge difference. I mean, I hope people listening to this, even if we don't know one another that well, I'll be the acquaintance or the friend that if you've got a win to share with me, I'll celebrate it with you. I will not be the person that if you come to me and go, man, on my drive to work this morning, I spilled my coffee or this guy flipped me off or that if holy smokes, like if somebody flips you off because you were probably driving like a donkey and you got to tell everybody about it, like just sit in the car and take a breath and go, either I did something wrong or just he guy flips me off the other day on the road. And I just wave him like, and our windows were down. I'm like, yeah, my bad, dude. I don't even know if I even did something wrong. But what am I going to do? Speed up and flip him off back? Hey, my bad. Hope you have a good day. Whatever. And maybe I did something wrong, or maybe that guy was just in a rush. And why was he in a rush? He was need to get to work on time and he was already late, or need to get the car home. He was borrowing his mom's car and needed to get the car home to mom, or was going to the hospital, or like you never know. I remember there's one time we were driving up in North Bay and we were going to school, and there's this guy. It was a snowstorm, and guy's driving. super fast, weaving in and out of traffic, super unsafe. My dad was driving. He comes around the car and like almost causes an accident. But then we're driving, and we see the guy way up ahead, turns off in the hospital. So your knee-jerk reaction when the guy passes you and speeds and almost causes an accident is like, "Oh, you dummy! What are you doing?" Blah, 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 whatever. But then a kilometer down the road, when you see him pull off in the hospital, you go, "Is his wife in labor? Is his mother dying? Like, what's?" You have no idea what people are going through. So, but then people will want to talk about that for their whole day, and they'll call their friend or their wife, or "You're not going to believe what just happened to me." It's like, yeah, call all day long. Shoot me a text, Coop. You're not going to believe what just happened to me. What? Oh, I won 649. Awesome. Yeah. Found 20 bucks on the side of the road today. Sweet. Got a promotion at work. Heck yeah. Kid took their first steps today. Heck yeah. Involve me in all of that, but miss me with the day-to-day. Oh my God, can you believe that the drive-through line that normally takes 2 minutes took 5 minutes today? Come, like, what are we talking about?
It's raining again today.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe that the weather's not great? Well, we live in Canada, so I mean, what we mean? Yeah, of course I can believe that. Yeah. Can you believe that there's traffic on the way to work? Well, you went at 8 in the morning. Yeah, of course I can believe that. Can you believe the gym was busy after work? You mean when everybody gets off work and goes to the gym? No, can't believe it. That's another thing. If you're constantly surprised by subtle inconveniences happening to you, like get your head out of the sand. Like, what are we? I know people that deal with severe chronic illness that their perspective on this is like when something really crappy happens to them, they don't act surprised or they don't look for sympathy because they go, yeah, I kind of expected this to happen. Like this happens every few months or a few days or a few weeks, or when this happens, this happens. So it sucks, but I'm already mentally prepared for it because I knew it was going to happen. And then you've got Johnny over here who's mad because his friggin' coffee took a minute longer. Whereas this person over here is like dealing with a crazy health challenge that they're like, yeah, it sucks, but I was prepared for it. I'll battle through it. All good. Like, have some perspective. And and then to tie it back to what we're talking about, the topic is like, if it's about bad news and bitching and complaining and whatever, then I mean the cost of being available to that is now we're not even talking about a sales context or closing the deal or being available to your clients. Like you're being available. You can't be that friend that takes on the rest of your friends and family's emotional stuff. You got enough of your own stuff in life that you got to figure out. It's a skill, but if you're a compassionate person, you have to develop the skill of the ability to be there for people without taking on the weight of their stuff.
Hmm.
And sometimes that means not being 24/7 always on for them. And sometimes it also, if there's people that have that expectation of you that you got to be constantly getting back to them and you got to respond a certain way, or it means you're a bad friend or you don't care. It's like, as long as you can look in the mirror and lay your head down in the pillow at night and know what your intentions are, then yeah, you do got to set some boundaries with people like that. Because unfortunately, a lot of cases with people like that, when you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yep.
And now you're trying to pour into other people who actually need it way more. And if they got your energy, would do way more productive things. But you're spending all your time pouring back into people who you have to do that as the bare minimum, and they're never even going to appreciate you for it. They're just expecting you to do that because what you sat next to them in ninth grade, and now it's a negativity sentence for life. Like, no thanks.
Yep. Oh, speaking from experience, when you have the capacity and have high emotional intelligence and emotional capacity, you need to protect that. I hit my lowest point in my life when I did that for everybody. There was a chain of tragedies that myself and a number of my friends went through, and I took everything on because I thought it was the right thing to do. Did it helped a lot of people, but it wrecked me. Boy, did it wreck me. And now, two people get that. Two people can put their stuff on me because they matter more than anything. They matter to me. And maybe people listening to this don't have those two people. That's okay too. But it can't be everybody. You cannot take that in. You cannot be that negativity sponge for everything. There are people in your life, and I'm going to frame this differently. You need to make the decision on who gets that privilege and who doesn't. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be compassionate and be empathetic for people there when they're in need. That's different, but it's the daily stuff, the frustrating things at work. That is for a select few people. Make sure you protect that space in your life because you need, if you are that person, if you're in a men's mental health group, you're involved with Mentel, you're involved with women's, whatever space you're involved in. If you're in those areas, you're going to have those conversations, but protect your own mental health because you can't be there for the person who's coming to you with it if you've already given everything you can and then a little bit more, just a little bit more. And then that becomes overwhelming to the point where you'll start drowning. And actually, the people that are coming to you with whatever size of negative things that happened in their life, you're so full of it already that you are actually lower than the people coming to you with the problem. And I'm going to make this a really polarizing sentence. It can get to a state to those people where somebody can come to you that their father, their brother, their sibling, their partner just died tragically. You might be at a lower state than them already. Theirs is fresh, tragic, very traumatic. Yours has been built over. You have never said no to taking in that negativity from people, and now you can't give any more. Make those boundaries healthy, whatever they look like for you, because they're different for everybody, like I said. That's why I was really careful with how I framed that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think my last thought on this topic is just there's a difference between doing it because you want to and doing it because you feel you have to. I think there's things that there you talk about the small group. Greg, yeah, there's some things you do because you know what I was gonna say. I can't think of most things anything I would feel like I am doing because I have to is also therefore something I want to do. I I don't really like being there for the third cousin that I haven't seen since I was 3 years old. People think that's, oh, well, we have to invite them to the wedding, or we have to go to their funeral, or we have to donate to their fundraiser. No, you don't. No, you don't. Do you, if you have a really good relationship with your mom and your mom's in the hospital, do you have to go see her? Yeah, but I also would want to go see her. So I think anything that you actually legitimately have to do, if you're a relatively compassionate person, is probably something that you also want to do already. So I'd say if you've got an extended list of things that you believe you have to do, but you really deep down don't want to, it's either because you're a crap person and you're avoiding things you need to do, which is probably less likely, or more likely because you care more about people seeing you as nice instead of being nice.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to the always being available and the uh, downfall of that is you need to care more about being kind than being seen as kind. You need to care more about being reliable for your people than being seen as reliable. It has nothing to do with how people see you. It has everything to do with the reality. And you can't be everything to everyone. And the only way that I know that I can be there for Greg as a friend and as a colleague, the way that I need to be there for Greg is that when I'm talking to him, I need to make sure that I'm with him. The trade-off to that is that when I'm not with him, he knows and respects the fact that I will be with somebody else. So he's probably not going to get a hold of me because I don't have this in front of me. So there's the personal side of just like boundaries and helping with your mindset. And then there's also a standards side of it as well, and doing what you need to do to make sure that you can fulfill what you want to fulfill as well. So I think a very important topic today.
Yeah. And my final thought kind of went away because I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, and it's not necessary to say, but in all of that we've talked about today, understand that one, regardless of the level of reachability you have, whether you're on the high spectrum, the low spectrum, whatever your instance is, it is yours and yours alone. You cannot put your standards, your capacity, your preferences onto others. And when you start doing that, that's when it gets negative. That's when it gets petty. That's when it gets frustrating. That's when you create an anxiety. And it's only you doing it. Outside of somebody who's truly just a bad person and you can tell the way they're communicating, they're trying to get something out of you. Get those people away from your life in general. But it's not about you. And I lied. I'm a liar. The thought came back to me to wrap it up. um, it's about consistency as well. But you don't have to be, consistency isn't being the same to every single person. And this is what I mean by that. Some people will get more of you because they've earned it. They provide value to you that gives them that they deserve 100% of you. But as a rule, it should be, like you said, being seen as being kind or just being kind. You should give that consistency of positive energy, of being a good source of energy to be around to everybody you cross paths with, even if it's a simple gesture of holding a door open. A stranger gets the door hold open for them. Somebody who's more important to you gets 100% of you, gets to be, that connectivity person, that person that hears about your day, that person that you get to hear about their day, that you give them 100%, but you do not, and it's very dangerous to give 100% of 100% of yourself to everybody you communicate with. You will burn yourself out.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. So yeah, appreciate your perspective on this week. I'm sure hopefully we'll have a couple of topics prepped for next week that are just as important as stuff like this. But in the meantime, if you guys do have anything you want us to discuss, drop it in the comments, send us a message directly. Yeah, happy to lend our perspective on anything. And in the meantime, Greg, we'll see you next week.
See you, Coop.
Thanks for tuning in this week. If you found value in today's episode, like, subscribe, and share with someone in your circle so they too can build a stronger life and a more resilient future.